Christy Vann with Fantastic Finances. And on this channel, I usually talk about velocity banking. But today we're going to talk with Alex Alberin, one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, about starting a business and what that looks like. Alex, welcome. Welcome. You know that you're one of my favorite people, and I'm so glad to have you on today.
No, thank you so much, Christy, and likewise. Hope you had a Merry Christmas. And I'm very much looking forward to the conversation because we've done these interviews and videos ever since we started working together. But your audience has grown a lot, and so with the YouTube algorithm, sometimes people have been following you for 4 years. And then they're like, "Oh, well, I never saw Chris Noggle. I never heard about Money Max. I've never heard of Alex Alberin." So it'll be nice to, introduce myself to people and of course give people as much value as we can heading into 2026. So no, thanks so much for having me on.
It's my pleasure. So I kind of want to start here by talking about Fantastic, and how all of this came to fruition, because it shouldn't have happened, in my mind, because I have no tech sense. So anybody that watches the channel knows that, one, I have never changed the way I do the videos. And I'll get comments all the time. They're like, "You really need to change your camera. You really need to, work on your audio." And I'm like, "Hey, I'm 54 years old and this is happening, so let's just go with it." So I'm not into technology. I'm not into the softwares, the spreadsheets, all of the camera stuff. I'm not into that. But if it hadn't have been for you coming alongside of me and helping me through each step of the way, I could not be doing what I am doing today. So I think I want to talk about that a little bit as to how you have, really come in and filled up the gap. Sure, I know velocity banking. I know infinite banking. I understand that stuff, but I have no idea what I was doing when it came to setting up the websites, when it came to what cameras to order, what lighting to have, all of that stuff. You have really just made it possible that I'm able to do what I do today. And I want to introduce you to people so that if we've got somebody out there that is wanting to start a YouTube channel or whatever, or maybe they have something in progress right now and they just can't get it to grow, what you've done for me, so that, it's gone so much further than I ever even had an idea that it could when it comes to this channel and to the people that we're reaching today. But I'm so excited about it because I feel like that the Lord has really blessed what's gone on here, because I have prayed my way through it, what's happening. But again, had you not been there to take me step by step on what to do, I wouldn't have done it, because I didn't have any self-confidence in what I was doing when it came to creating the Fantastic business. And you've really held my hand along the way, and I'll forever be grateful to you for that. But I want people to see what you do and, why you do what you do.
No, and thank you for mentioning that. It's very humble because so many people, they'll look at you now, almost 4 years into it, 430,000 subscribers. They'll look at me. I've been doing this for almost 10 years, and they try something out for a few months. They're naturally not at our level yet, but then they expect that they should be internally, even if it's subconscious. They don't consciously think, "Oh yeah, I should have 100,000 subscribers in the first month." But they want 100 views. They want 1,000 views. Like, they all have these subconscious, very ambitious goals, but it sets them up for failure many times because they think, "You know what? This isn't working as fast as I thought it should." So there's something wrong with this model, YouTube, real estate, whatever they're doing. I'm going to do something else over here. And then they do the same thing with whatever that opportunity is. And then they go back to this and then they start something else. And then they're, after 10 years, they've been busy, 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 but they've never focused on one thing, stuck with it, and let themselves naturally progress, because you've gone from 0 to 430,000 subscribers. But in the beginning, I even told you, hey, I don't have a guaranteed specific plan that this is or isn't going to work. And you're like, are you serious? Like, there has to be something. I'm like, well, this is what we're going to do. Here's the step by step. But it's a leap of faith, no matter how anybody slices it. So when you started, that was a leap of faith. And of course, we've had so many blessings and so much help along the way. But you took that initial leap of faith and said, hey, here's my target. Here's what I know. I know velocity banking. I know I want to help people. I feel led to do that. I know I don't want to focus on marketing. I know I'm not into the technology. I know I need a step-by-step clear roadmap. So let me find the person that's going to help me do that. Mm-hmm. The mistake so many people make is they want to do everything and they want to be excellent at it. And they don't accept, hey, let me focus on my strengths. What would I love to do all day, every day? And what's going to keep me going through the hard times? Like, imagine if I told you, Christy, you're going to have to do all of this marketing, emails, newsletter, funnels, X, Y, and Z. You probably wouldn't be here. You probably would have stopped up after the first few months. You'd be like, I'm not good at this yet. And I don't enjoy it. And I don't like it. And like, this is just not for me. So people should really think about, what is my target? What do I feel led to do? How is this going to help other people? And then who can fill in the gaps where maybe I have some weaknesses?
Yeah. And, going all the way back to when I remember starting this, and now this was just 3 years ago, because February of 2023 was the first video that I posted. So here we are. We're not even in February of 2026. So it seems like we've been working together at least 10 years. Yeah. And it's amazing how the time has flown by. But really, when you look at the overall picture of what has happened in less than 3 years, it's just super amazing to me. How you can take your life, when you have a goal, when you have something that you're going to do that is your purpose, how it just unfolds, and it just really has. But all the way back to the beginning, we talked in October of 22 the first time, and I really did not want to make a video. I don't like that still. It's just that the information has to be presented some way. And you were saying, well, you need a YouTube channel. You need to post the videos. And then, the people will watch from there and they'll come. And I'm like, this dude is insane. This is not going to work. I even told you, nobody wants to hear a 50-year-old woman from East Tennessee talking about their finances. But wow, it's been an experience, and it's just what you said. It is work. It's not, I'm going to go on easy street because I don't have to work for anybody anymore. No, this has been work, from the setup to paying the taxes to everything else. And I've really, been blessed with good people that's helped me, with the taxes, like JJ the CPA. I mean, he's just a beautiful soul when it comes to his business, which is taxes. Oh my gosh. And I have to do a side note here. That book he wrote, that is just the best. I love those videos where he's reading that book. I want to write a book one day, I guess, but it's like, wow, that's exactly the way I would like for my book to unfold, is telling your personal story about what happened and how you got to where you are today. which is kind of what we're talking about here today, except we're not going back to that junky past like I would have to do in that book with, the ex-husband and stuff like that. But, when we started talking, you literally gave me the steps. You need to make this many videos, by the weekend, send them over to me, let me review them, critique them a little bit. I mean, literally. And when you told me to post that first video, I'm like, oh my gosh, because I go back and watch the first video and it was as bad as I thought it was. But like I said, you sent me the links to order the camera. You sent me the links to order the lighting. And it was like, do you help everybody that way? Or did I just get the special blessing of Alex Alberin in my life?
Well, I do my best to, because I want people to have clarity, because when you have clarity, it's not easy, but it is easier to take action. When somebody gives you that you trust, that has a track record, they give you this playbook and it has every single little step, because it also removes excuses. Because it's not like, oh, well, Alex, I didn't make a video because I didn't know what equipment to use. I'm like, oh no, here's the equipment, here's the camera, here's the lighting, here's how you set up the camera, here's the microphone. Because then it just removes obstacles. Because again, the act of making a video or whatever somebody's doing in their business, that's hard enough, right? Or making a cold call or whatever the action is, that in itself is hard enough to conjure up the courage to do it, knowing that it's not going to be good at first, right? Yeah. And then removing the obstacles, removing any challenges possible, that just helps make that process as smooth as humanly possible, which, like you said, it's still not easy. I mean, even now, you've done thousands of videos. I've done thousands of videos. Some days you're like, oof, yeah, the last thing I want to do today is turn on this camera and make a video. But we feel led for it. We want to help people, and hey, there's harder things to do in the world, Yeah. So we're very blessed.
Yeah, and along those lines, I was telling you earlier, 2025 has been a very tough year for me because, one, I haven't felt the greatest. I think I went through burnout. Because I was just, go, pushing everything as hard as I could push it. And then it's like your body says, okay, all right, you're going to take a break. Another reason I enjoyed JJ's book so well. But, you told me, because I shared that with you the other day, that I just feel like, I just need a break. And you said that's part of being an entrepreneur, is that even though you need the break, you still keep pushing to keep moving. And that's just life in general. We're going to have things that completely knock us down on our back, and we want to lay there, but you just can't. I mean, and if you keep pushing, then it's going to come out in a better state than it was before you went down. That's what, so we don't want to accept failure, but that's what failure is. It's just an opportunity to get back up and go again and do it better this time. So even, Christy Vann, people are like, oh, you're just a beautiful soul, and you just, you've helped me so much. And I love the comments. Oh my gosh, I could sit and read comments on YouTube all day long, every day, the beautiful things people post. But, some days I'm like everybody else in the world. I just don't want to do anything. I just want to sit down and take a break. And you have that experience, and especially in the startup, when you're really, really working, and you're just pushing yourself to the limits. That is, I'm assuming that is what it has taken to get to where we are today, is because it's just push. And people starting a business, they need to understand that that it's a continual flow of energy coming out of you. And you can't just, cut off the clock at 5 o'clock in the evening and say, oh, I'm done with work. No, your mind is just rushing, uh, sometimes till you can't sleep because the ideas are flowing, or, I've got to get this done. I've got to get this video made. I've got to have this meeting. So some days it's all day long. And for anybody listening out there that you're thinking about starting a business, a YouTube channel, whatever, you have to be in the expectation of, I want this so bad, I'm going to work all I can work for it. And, I really, if you remember, Alex, at the end of 2024, I told you I have to cut my calendar back because I'm getting no family time. I'm not able just to run down the road to the store. And that's where I think 2025 came in and said, okay, you're going to back down a little bit because your body's not going to do it anymore. Who was it? Taylor Swift. I was watching her Eras tour that she did, and she was talking in one of those videos about how she knew that was going to be a 3-hour concert or more, and that she knew that was going to push her body to the limits, being able to keep up that pace. So her physical strength trainer or whatever got her into where she was doing more and more exercising, getting her body ready for what it was getting ready to go through. And we have to do that too. I literally picked up, I backed off on my workouts. 2024, I felt like I had no time for that. But wow, it takes a toll. So it's a mind, body, soul thing when you're going into working your own business, because you've got to really pull it in and say, I really want this, but I've got to be prepared for those fails, for the endurance it's going to take to go through it. Because yes, it does get better. You do make money, but I mean, you're paying a price at building that goal. So when people are going into something such as starting the business, make sure your purpose is there. Make sure that you're excited about what you're doing every day, because I absolutely love what I do. I love working with people every day. And that's the only reason the YouTube channel was started. So thankful it did. I never dreamed it was going to reach as many people and help as many as it has. But that was not my intention. My intention was to get some clientele, start working on their finances. If I had 10,000 people or subscribers on YouTube, I would have been happy, because that would have been a lot to me, right? To think where it is today is absolutely mind blowing. And again, had I not had you right there beside of me, setting up the website alone was more than I could do. Setting up how people were going to schedule. I mean, everything. You have really, just like I said, you are filling in the gaps that there's no way, even today still, that I could fill if you weren't there. People need to know that you do that. People need to know that you are in it for their success. And I'm tickled to death with you. So I'm talking to Alex Halberin, and he's like the most perfect person I've ever met, and especially business. So I'm being completely open and genuine about that. I mean, we could sit here and talk about your steps all day long, but it's been more than that. It's been a friendship on top of business, and it's just been really a great experience.
No, you tickle me too. I'm gonna have to add that to my vocab. I love that. And no, I love you, your husband. I mean, I've worked with your daughter. I mean, it's something where, like you mentioned, it started off as a work relationship, and we've developed a great friendship, because I mean, that's what it's all about. If you can do what you love every day, do it with people who you like and love and you enjoy, that's why people really have a business. But like you're saying, they have to understand you didn't just wake up and have time freedom, financial freedom,
Right.
great relationships, and all these options from day one. This is years down the road, and you've grown faster than average. Let's just say that. So I think people need to recalibrate, like those first few years, that first 12 to 18-month period, you're not going to have the time freedom. You're not going to have the financial freedom. You might be putting money into the business and not making a lot yet. That's the period where people usually move to another opportunity. They quit, they go back to their job. When if they just kept pushing, that's why, again, people tell me every day, I've spoken to probably 10,000 startup entrepreneurs, people that want to be an entrepreneur, existing entrepreneurs. So I understand their mindset better than anybody. And it's usually because not the money, they feel led to do something for other people, but they also usually don't like the box they're in their job. They don't like being treated like a child at times. Like you have to report to your boss when you want to use the restroom, and you want to report to your boss when you want to take days off to go on your family vacation, and little things like that. Are working with people that you despise in a company that you work for. You have to do that. It's not your company. You can't choose the morals or the ethics or the quality of the people that you work with every day. Whereas when you have a business, you can, right? So as long as people understand the trade-offs and their goals are big enough and the impact that they want to make is big enough, that's why when I sign people up or I talk to them, the number one thing I need to hear is their why. Because if their why is just, oh, I want to make an extra $500 a month, I tell them honestly, you should just go drive for Uber, work more at your job. I'm like, in a non-disrespectful way, I'm like, you're going to have better success because you just want to make a little extra money. Starting a business is, like you're saying, mind, body, spirit, time, and it affects your relationship. It can affect your faith because you're like, I'm working so hard, but I'm not seeing the results. And it's so many things where if you want to make a transformation, that's when, starting a business or getting into something, that's when it can be worth it, like you're saying.
Yeah. And I believe anything that you've set your mind to, you're going to accomplish. Again, the fails are just, something that we have to go through. I've had, the channel even dropped when I went through my issues with my body. The channel dropped out, and it was like, okay, what do I need to do here? So you and I had a talk. I never dreamed it. First, let me just say 20,000 new subscribers every month. That wasn't even in my head, right? Then, when it drops down and it goes to 1,000 new subscribers a month, you're like, okay, so 1,000 people, that's a lot of people coming in. So, it's not horrible that you drop down. But, at the same time, the idea for the channel is to reach as many people as we can with this education so that they can get into financial freedom. And that's still my drive today. I'm still super excited to meet with people every day. But, you do have those slumps, and it's like, I just feel like I'm going to scream if I have one more meeting. But it's part of it. And like you said, do you want to work for somebody and with people that you don't enjoy, and you have to get up and you have to go to these places, and maybe you're mistreated by a boss? I actually know a couple of people right now that are having that problem. But it's about, what do you want to do? What is the end goal? And who can you pick up to take with you on this journey? I had a very supportive husband. So that was my backbone. He had to hire you because I wouldn't even start working with you until he
You said
started.
no. I wish I would have taken
Yeah.
a screenshot of the text message. It was literally an essay. It was just like, here's why it's not going to work, and all those different things. And I literally was like, no, I think you're wrong. Like you're going to kill it.
Yeah,
And then
that was so
luckily your
funny.
husband Scott, who's a great guy, he probably pushed you behind the scenes to be like, this guy Alex, and just like what you're trying to do, it's now or never. Like you really need to do something. So he was like, just give it a shot, take a leap of faith, and he did support you from day one, which is
Yeah.
it's a blessing.
Yeah, he is. And, he's even had to suffer through this because just finding the time to have a conversation with him during the day has been crazy. So, which I'm all about, you need to pick that up because you're not going to take your work with you through the end of your journey here on life. You're in life, you're going to be with people around you, and you need to keep those relationships developed and growing. So I've even failed there. So when I look around, I see that, I've been busy growing something here and becoming my best at it, but then it's just, you there's a price to pay around you. But if we're prepared for that, if somebody had told me, hey, you really need to set a schedule up front because your husband, he's going to be like, hey, what's going on? I never get to see you. My kids, that I never get to see you. And so it's it's just being well rounded with this starting of the business, but knowing that you can do it, knowing that, okay, I made a couple of videos, I really hate them, so I'm going to see what I can do to make the next video a little bit better. I think that's what you were telling me too, was look at the videos, see how you need to improve them, and then make the next video. And when your focus is like mine was, is to find people to help that didn't have the education that I knew they needed it, if I could just get it to them. When you've got the goal in your mind of what it is you really want to do and you feel excited about doing that, then all of this other stuff is the work that you have to do to make it happen. So when I go back to when you and I started, you we'd had a couple of conversations and I'd sent you the text, no, probably a few times if I'm thinking correctly, where I'm like, I'm not going to do this, I don't have time for this, whatever. Because I was working a full-time job when we talked, and it was very, very stressful to say the least. So I had to come home after work and start on the business as far as, making this happen. And I believe it was so funny because you were like, well, you don't need to quit your job yet. Just keep doing what you're doing of an evening. But I was so excited that I prepared my line of credit to be able to take on my finances for 3 months. So I planned on, okay, I'm going to use the line of credit. If I get in trouble, I'll pay my bills out of that. That was just what I was thinking. But in February, when I did finally start posting the videos and Scott had hired you to help me, I literally thought, okay, I love this and I'm going to make this happen. So I went in, I put in my notice at work. I said, you need to get somebody in here because I'm going out. And that was just the drive I had, is I have got to get Fantastic up and working. I remember Fantastic saying that to you and you were like, Fantastic. And I'm like, yeah, we have to go with that. And I think you were like, okay, that's kind of different.
I was like,
But
just do Christy Vann, like
yeah,
financial coach or so. I was thinking more basic, but then I think you were like, oh, but that's my Peloton name or
yeah.
something.
I literally, that was my Peloton handle. And because of my husband, I've always thought he was just fantastic. So I just had been saying that for a while. And then I thought, hey, it's going to be fantastic. And I knew that would kind of be like What is this? Well, the financing education, it is fantastic in my mind. And, you know, now when I'm anywhere, if somebody says that was just fantastic, I said that was fantastic. So I'm using it every day outside of the business. But, you know, to see where that has gone, it is an absolute blessing from the Lord. I'm going to give him all the glory, because when that first month, when I hit the 1,000 that you have to have for your watch hours for YouTube, just to start getting paid through YouTube, I had no idea. I had no idea what YouTube paid. Wasn't even looking for what YouTube paid. I was looking for helping people, and you know, what would they pay me to help them? So it's so funny when you have this wild idea in your head and you just decide, hey, I'm going to run with this, I'm going to see what happens, and then watch it just grow. That's absolutely beautiful. The process and how far it's gone and how much further I think it's going to go. It's just that, you know, I'm out here to help people, and the growth of the channel just happens to be a part of that. And, you know, I literally thought, okay, I want to make about $8,000 a month. If I can make, I told you I was wanted to match my income that I was making at the time. And if I was doing that, I was fine. Wow. I mean, absolutely unbelievable what putting your mind to your purpose can do for you. It's beautiful. I think it's a blessing. You know, I think that's what we're supposed to do, is help people. And when we do that, we're going to get paid back in multiple ways because of your desire to bring peace to people. So when we were started out working together, what do you do now? Because I know you've grown like I've grown. What do you do now when somebody, you know, they're wanting to start a business, for example, or boost their own business? What are the very first steps that you do with people to get them signed up and to start working with them?
Well, first off, just everything you said is so true. And I think a big part of your success is that you mentioned you didn't quit your job yet, but you did set up a line of credit because you're like, I am committed to this. You told me I'm going to make this work, whatever it takes. And I'm willing to go back to the poorhouse if it doesn't. I did say that. I'm like, dang, she's like,
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, dang, she is like in it. She's intense, but I love it, because the worst thing somebody could do is to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Just like you can't be in a relationship or a marriage 1 foot in, 1 foot out. If any part of your body's out, you're all out. It's either in or out. So you said, I'm going to make this work. And you focused on the impact. You didn't say, I want to make $1 million in the next 3 months. How can I maximize my income, my revenue? You were saying, how can I help as many people as possible? How can I maximize my impact? So that's a huge part of your success. But going back to your question, the funny thing is I do the same exact thing today. And of course, back when we started, AI wasn't really a thing. Now, some of the things that used to take us maybe more time with you when you started now could take a fraction of the time. But just like a Tony Robbins or Dave Ramsey, I mean, they've been doing the same things, whether you like them or don't like them, for like 40 years or so. And they're just consistent with the same message. And I feel like I'm going to be that way. I've been doing this for almost 10 years, but I think I'm going to just keep doing the one-on-one. So I don't do any courses or group coaching, because I feel like people that come to me, they've tried the courses, they've tried group coaching for growing a business or learning about real estate or something, and they've tried the group method, but they need somebody to hold their hand and say, here are the steps. I'm going to push you. I'm going to hold you accountable. Let's get you from point A to point B. And like, I'm going to help you make it happen. Like, there is no go watch 1,000 hours of videos and figure it out. So my methods are the same for how I help people and deliver my coaching and services. But of course, the different tactics and AI and software, that's changing, I mean, almost daily at this point. But I feel like the method is very much like grabbing them, shaking them, and being like, hey, you need to wake up. Like, stop wasting time. Let's get accountable. Let's set some targets. What's your why? And making this a reality for them, because I mean, everybody has talent, they have work ethic, like they have passion. They just need to get it taken out of them. They need clarity, and sometimes they need to get out of their own way, to be frank. We all are our worst enemies in many cases. Right. So sometimes it's good to have a third party look at somebody's situation objectively, no emotions, and say, here's where you're at. Here's where you want to get to. I've done this 1,000 times. So you need to do X, Y, and Z, A, B, C, and then do that. Then we'll move on to the next step. And that's it. And again, it hasn't really changed. I've just maybe, of course, gotten more experience, perhaps gotten better, different methods like AI and things like that, but pretty much the same exact thing.
Yeah. And, you know, just speaking to the people out there that are watching this video and you think, I don't have time to work on this. I know a person right now, I'm not going to say any names, but I know a person that very much could serve the public with the information that they have. And the excuse that I hear every single time we have the conversation about you need to get that on YouTube so that people can see that they're not the only ones going through this and there is a way to do this. The excuse is, I just don't have the time. You know, I have little kids. I have a full-time job. You know, we have to go out of town every now and again for this. So I get discouraged every time I talk to this person because I know that what they have to offer is what, you know, a lot of people need. And because they won't, like you said, just drill down and say, okay, I'm going to do this. They're not going to do it. And, you know, they might decide to in 10 years, but what could they have accomplished in that 10 years if they had started when we had our first conversation about you can do this? So, you know, YouTube, it's so funny because I never even thought about being a YouTuber. That is so funny to me every time I say that out loud. And, you know, people are like, well, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, I teach people how to do their finances. Oh, do you have an office here in town? No, actually, you know, I'm on YouTube. And it's like, people are like, are you serious? Oh my gosh. And I'm like, hey, I'm with you. I'm as shocked as you are. So what I'm trying to push out to people is that when you have somebody standing beside of you, giving you those steps, pushing you, then, you know, you're going to make it happen because you don't like the pressure of oh, well, they're waiting on me to send those videos over there. And I don't want to tell him no for the third time, you know, so it's like you really give the structure to somebody that wants to really build not just a business, but an empire, a legacy for your kids. You know, isn't that what we're all going for here? Is we're not going to be here forever. So let's leave something to the next generation that helps them to be better. You know, you mentioned Dave Ramsey, and I was talking about him this week, not because of, you know, what he teaches, but that he's brought his children in now, and now they're taking that over. And I think that's just beautiful that he's set up something that now his grown children are into and they're teaching, you know, and that would be my desire, is that as I, you know, obviously I'm getting old with the bags under the eyes. So it's
no, people always tell me they're surprised that you're like, they think you're in your early 40s. Because when I tell people, oh, Christy started with me, you know, she was in her 50s. Like your viewers or people that watch a video of you and I, they're like, no way, because you have the youthful energy and you just have the youthful like glowing look. So I think being a YouTuber, it's definitely it's enhanced, you know, the look and everything. Like
Well, I appreciate.
people, yeah, people tell me that all the time. My
Oh,
parents
that's
tell me
so
that.
funny.
Yeah.
Oh
Mm.
no. So I was my girls have been in town for Christmas and we were looking through old photos and I found one from right when Fantastic started. And I love the Peloton. I love working out. I've always kind of, you know, in and out, but I've always been pretty structured with my workouts. And they stopped completely, like, you know, February of 2023, when this started, the workouts just kind of fizzled out. And I saw that picture and I was 50 years old and I was standing in like this, you know, from the back, a back shot of the body. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm like, I was in perfect shape for a 50-year-old. And look at me now because I'm like totally, you know, backed off on the workouts. And I'm like, wow. So I have, you know, like I said, there's been a lot happen because I'm 54 now. So I guess that wasn't 4 years ago when I was 50. Yeah, it was too. It was. I was 50, 51 when that photo was taken. And I was like, gosh, you know, you got to keep it together, Christy. You got to stay in those workouts for your health. But, you know, keep working on the business too. And you know, for you guys watching, maybe you're in a business right now and you just feel like I can't do it anymore. And I'm going to be very honest here. 2025 being the tough year for me was I wanted to lay down and stop because I'm like, oh, you know, maybe if I was Alex's age, a whole 26 years old, you know, I could keep up the pace. But, you know, instead of stopping, I thought, hey, I need to start working out again. So I've picked up where I am working out every day again, first thing, so that I really boost that energy and I can go through my day. I've, you know, gotten the blood work and letting, you know, the doctor look over, is anything else going on, which I'm proud to say my blood work came back excellent. So I was very glad about that. But it's just your mind, you know, your mind affects every single thing around you. And if you are in a negative mindset, if you are beating up on yourself because you know you can't do this or you can't do that, um, get out of that. Because if I can do it, anybody can. Anybody can. Because I should not. I'm in the poorest county and the poorest state in the United States. So if I can come up out of this, which, you know, I'm going to say I've always been a go getter. I've always run for the money because I knew that, you know, making $2,500 a month, that was ridiculous. And as I came up, I kept looking for the next level. So I think that we need to be in a continual growth our whole life. That's why I don't aim to stop. But you may be in a slump right now and you may be saying, you know, I can't do this. There's nowhere to go higher than where I am right now. Um, you may be shocked, and that's where Alex may be able to help you as well to come in and, you know, not a hand out, but a hand up to get you to the next level, to pull you out of that slump. And Alex, I'm going to say that too. Um, you have been so positive and so uplifting that, you know, some days you may not even know it, but I'll send you a text and I'll be like, you know, can we put off that meeting, or, you know, can we do this or that? And you'll always come back with something positive about, you know, oh, 2026 is going to be a great year. We haven't even seen what we're getting ready to do next. So it's like you're continually building me up. And I wanted to make this a longer video. We don't usually do longer videos like this, but I wanted to give people a real insight to the low end of starting your business or being in your business. And that if you're feeling like you want to give up as an entrepreneur, then that's totally normal. And I'm here to say that out loud. It's totally normal for you to be exhausted in your mind, in your body, and maybe with life, because things get tough. And when you've got family stuff going on outside of your business, wow, it's tough. But I plan to keep walking. I want to get back to running again. But right now, I'm just, I'm taking steps to move forward and staying in it to win it, because I know there's people out there that have not heard this message. And it's super important to me that before I'm out of this world, I want people to get financially set to where they have financial peace so that they can breathe financially, then deal with this stuff that's going on out here on the outside. You can't do it all with the load that you're carrying with the debt. You can't do it, because that is consuming your mind, and you have no energy left to deal with maybe the spousal problems that you're having, maybe the child you've got going wild. All this stuff is going on while we're loaded down with debt. And that's my message, is that you do not have to struggle financially. You are just in a wrong mindset about your money and how it's supposed to work for you. It's a very real conversation, and I want to be real about that. But I also, want people to know that if they are in a struggle with their business, if they're wanting to start something and they don't know where to start, that Alex Alberin is the place to start. To at least have a conversation, because he's not going to take everybody he talks to. Like he said, he needs to know your why. And he's going to kind of interview you to see if you're somebody that he knows he can help. But Alex, I don't know anybody that you've ever taken on that you didn't know that you could work with them if they would work with you.
Absolutely, because it's a long-term commitment. Like you and I, we've been working together for years now. We've spent so much time together. So it's about, like you're saying, when we first spoke, your why was so strong. It was so deep. You really not even wanted to. You felt like you needed to get the message out there. You needed to help people. And that's when I'm like, I'm all in. And like I think we worked out a deal or something. I forget, but that happens sometimes too, where a client, maybe they can't pay all up front, or we need to figure something out. I'm like, whoa, like you're the real deal. I believe in you. So like, we're going to figure something out. So I never want the finances to be something that holds people back, because I want to turn somebody into the next Christy or the next, Stephen Gardner or Denzel Rodriguez. Like I've worked with numerous people in different industries, different spaces. And like you're saying, I love talking to people. And sometimes I'm like, hey, you're not ready for me right now, but do these things. Then maybe in 100 days or maybe in 6 months, come back to me. So I think we're going to have a link somewhere in this video. I'd love to have a conversation with anybody. It's totally free. There's no obligation or anything. And like she said, if you're an amazing fit, I'll let you know. And if you're not, I'll still have a conversation, give you any advice or consultation that I can to hopefully set you in the right direction. But I appreciate just the honesty and transparency in this video, Christy, because it's easy to act like, like you're saying, everything is easy, smooth sailing. Owning a business is the best thing ever. And it's like, there's amazing pros to owning a business. But like you're saying with me, my business has been like this for the last 10 years. It's never a straight line. Everything is going extremely well. Or even maybe things are starting to go well. Like you, when you started, you went from starting out and then you got super busy. And then there's problems with that. There's scheduling problems, health problems, family problems, just time management that we had to figure out. And then once you figure that out, a new set of problems come up. So you want to enjoy the moments in between, and you want to say, hey, I'm going to do this for my legacy, for my kids, or whatever impact you're trying to make. And then just stay thinking long term, because if you focus so much on the short term problems and what about this and what about that, and just jump problem to problem, your life is all problems. You
Yeah.
have no enjoyment and no growth from it. But if you stay thinking long term and on the main thing, the impact, the growth, then these other problems are going to seem minor. And yes, it's a problem, but we can solve it. We can get back to having fun, helping people, enjoying, knowing that there's more stress and problems around the corner, which is okay. But again, if you think long term and accept the roller coaster, that's really what it's going to look like. It's not going to be this smooth, easy process. If you accept that up front, you will be thankful down the road, 100%.
Right, right. And even about my appointments that I take, my one-on-ones in a day. When I first started, I was doing 10 to 12 hours a day meeting people one-on-one. And yeah, I could double, triple my money if I would go back into that. But I wasn't giving the people my all the way I felt like it is when I'm sitting talking with somebody one-on-one. I want them to know that I'm listening to them. I'm not over here, doing other stuff. I want them to know they have my focus and that I really care about what they're going through. And I just found, doing so many appointments in a day, I just couldn't make it happen. I was exhausted by the time I got to the fifth or sixth appointment. So what I did, I literally cut my calendar back. And I have people writing me probably, I don't know, 100 a day. They're saying, hey, your schedule's out to February. Can I get in somewhere? And sometimes I'll, fit somebody in somewhere when I've had a cancellation or something. But I just usually say, I'm sorry, the calendar's full, because I want to, like I've been saying, is get it in order to where I'm not killing my physical self by just keeping up the schedule of go, go, go. And, for you, Alex, you probably do work till 10 o'clock at night. And I know other
No, I
people,
used to. I
yeah,
used to. Now I've developed more of that time management. But like
yeah,
you're saying, it's so easy to, bleed into that, because you're like, I feel like that's what I need to do to grow. But that's, like you're saying, one season of business. But now, like, I got the dogs, they want to get their food, they want to get their walk on the beach, and then my wife and I, we want to watch a little Grey's Anatomy or something, so, but like you're saying, that's taking me 10 years to figure out. And like, it all is working out, and I'm super blessed and you're blessed. But sometimes you're like, wow, yeah, I used to work till 10, 11, and like that, you have to do it to then figure out, okay, well, that doesn't work. That's not sustainable. So let's figure out a way. And usually, like you're saying, it's saying no and just taking more control over your time, for sure.
Yeah. And I would love to, be able to take everybody in a day. So I don't want people to think that I'm pushing, I'm like, oh, I'm taking one appointment a day. I take 4 to 5 appointments a day. And most days, Monday through Friday. But the weekends, I've decided this 2025, that I needed to give family time. Because they were able to do nothing because I was always working. So you got to figure some things out like that. But again, like you said, there's going to be a link underneath the video in the description. Please reach out to Alex and have a conversation if you're in a rut, or if you're in that beginning stages of wanting to do something, you just don't know how to set it up and get going. Because I'm not trying to sell Alex. I'm trying to tell you guys, he made a 100% difference in everything fantastic, because I could not have done it. And still, you're working with me. You did allow me, or my husband, to pay per month, I believe it was, for 3 months or something like that. So he does break that down for you, so you don't have to be overwhelmed about, the money and how you're going to pay for it. And the idea is that your business is going to get up and running and exponentially has it's I can't even say doubled, tripled, quadrupled what I paid Alex. You were baby changed to what has happened. So, it's just like, I appreciate you so much. I would love for people to be able to experience you and how you work, and, the person that you and your wife are. You guys are just great in every way. Even your dogs are great. It's just like you just are great all around. And I know you love the Lord, and that's what's so important too about, our work here on earth, and our end goal. So I just appreciate you and wanted to share you today on the channel. Let everybody know, where I feel like that my backbone has been a lot with business, and you're it. And I appreciate you so much.
No, you too. Thanks so much for having me on. And no, I love you guys. Hopefully we could do something in person soon. I know we have a conference coming up maybe next
Yes.
year in April or so. So yeah, I'm sure we can hang out then and maybe beforehand. But no, I appreciate the conversation. And yeah, I really enjoy our texting and just our constant communication, because yeah, it's so nice to see that, like you're saying, you keep pushing and like you just don't stop. You motivate me. Because sometimes I get an email and it is like midnight or something. I'm like, dang, she's at it. I got to step up my game. Not every day. Sometimes I'm
Yeah.
like, dang, Christy's like, she's a worker. So no, yeah, thanks so much for having me on, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
All right. Thank you. You guys have a great rest of your day and week. Stay encouraged and get excited about your life, because it is super exciting when you know what you're doing with your purpose. That's what it's all about. So I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Have a good day.